Welcome into the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com. Tom Leach along with Keeneland's director of simulcasting, Jim Goodman. Big weekend for the 3-year-olds with the Grade 1 Haskell on Sunday and American Pharoah making his return to the races. And we'll do a podcast on the 4 graded stakes races for Monmouth's Sunday card tomorrow that you'll be able to access. But for now, we're going to take a look at the Saturday major stakes races. And, Jim, that takes us to Saratoga for 4 graded stakes. Let's begin in the 5th race, Grade 2 Amsterdam, for 3-year-olds going 6.5 furlongs. Really well-matched group here, I thought. Who'd you like?
Yeah, it is. They moved this out of the late pick 4 because of the size of the field, but, you can make a case for just about everybody in here. I settled on March. March has won the last 2 at 7 furlongs, and this is a little bit shorter, but he's got enough positional speed that I think he's going to be right there. He won at 7 furlongs at Aqueduct and the Bayshore, and at 7 furlongs at the Woody Stevens. And I think that field was a little tougher than this with Ready for Rye and Cinco Charlie. Ready for Rye came back and won. So I'm going to take March on top for Chad Brown here. But it's a very, very well-matched field. I thought Requite defeated Granville last out at Gulfstream. That came back to be a key race. Granville beat Barbados, and Barbados is an obvious contender here. So I'm going to pick March, but I'm going to use more than one horse in the multiples. I would not take a stand on March, but I can even make a case for the Great War with Wesley Ward and Rosario at 10-1 is a nice little price, and Holy Boss is the one that everybody's picking in the daily racing form handicapper. So tough race, but I'm going to stick with March for Chad Brown and Red Ortiz.
To tell you how tough it is, all those horses you mentioned, you didn't mention the one I'm picking. Victory is Sweet, number 4. Mm-hmm. Who I think is going to be a nice value in this race, and I like his speed. And I thought he ran a big race on Preakness Day to run second, came back and won. And I think they tried to be maybe a little aggressive early in that Preakness Day race, and came up just a little bit short. Now they had a little more time, got an easier race into him, and I think he can win this. And I'm going to use him with Barbados, Holy Boss, and March. Your pick. So 4 with 3-5-7, and then 3-5-7 with 4 for me in the Amsterdam. We'll move to the 8th race. It's a Grade 1, the Vanderbilt, 6 furlongs for 3-year-olds and up. And Rockfall is going to be a huge, huge favorite in here. I am going to try to upset him with the Big Beast. He came back in his debut for 2015, and it didn't run great, and but is working well. And what I like is he's 2 for 2 at Saratoga. And you see these horses every year that just love Saratoga, whether it's the track or the atmosphere or the spring water, whatever it is. And so Rockfall is just kind of going to go against him on the thinking that, he's going to stub his toe eventually. And we see it happen sometimes at Saratoga. So I'm going to try to beat him with the Big Beast and then use the Big Beast with Rockfall and Saludos Amigos. How about you?
Well, one of the worst handicapping jobs I've done, it cost me a spot in the contest, in the Vegas contest, when Favorite Tail ran on the 5th of July at Gulfstream. That was a extremely speed-favoring track, and I played work all week, and I just kicked myself all day long. And I think Favorite Tail, this race may set up similarly to that. I don't think Saratoga is going to play anywhere close to what Gulfstream was that day, but it looks like Favorite Tail may be able to gun from the outside and control the pace here. He couldn't run with Rockfall in the True North, but I don't think the pace favored him that day. I think he may have a little bit of an edge here from the outside, so I'm going to try to upset Rockfall with Favorite Tail to 7. I certainly wouldn't go against Rockfall in multiple leg wagers, but he's going to be 4 to 5 probably. I think Saludos Amigos has a shot at him as well, but Rockfall's going to be heavily favored. I think Favorite Tail, you might get 6 or 7 to 1 rather than 5 to 1. So I would play him on top with the hopes that he can control the speed. And I can make a case for the Big Beast. Certainly 2 for 2 at Saratoga jumps out off the page. The only horse I can't make a case for here, and probably will win, is Departing. He's not doing very well right now. But the others I can make a case, even Viva Majorca. So Rockfall is the obvious favorite, but I'm going to take a shot with the 7 Favorite Tail.
Let's go to the 9th race, Grade 2 Bowling Green at 1 mile and 3/8 on the turf for 4-year-olds and up. Who'd you like?
Well, this is a race that I go against that. I think there's enough speed in here that I'm going to take a closer here. And Imagining Prashud McGahee is my pick. I think it sets up perfectly. Red Rifle, the 1, War Dancer, the 2, and Iron Power, the 4, who would be my second choice in here at a real nice 15-1. I think, but they are going to compromise each other if it sets up that way. Now, if one of them doesn't go and they're able to slow it down the front end, that might make it tough for Imagining, but it seems to me that this race will be a lot of speed on the front end for a 1 3/8 turf course, and I think Imagining is coming into the race off the United Nations at Monmouth, set him up perfectly, ran behind Big Blue Kitten and Slumber, and Twilight Eclipse that day. That's no shame, and Velasquez knows how to rate this horse. So I think Imagining is my pick here, the 3 on top. I would use those 3 horses, Red Rifle, War Dancer, the 1 and 2, and Iron Power, the 4, behind Imagining in the trifecta, and take all in the third leg. I think the one thing that Innovative Economy is the other horse that I would use from the outside. It's getting really good right now. He's won 3 in a row, so I would take him as well, along with the 3 speed horses.
Yeah, Innovation Economy is almost where I went, and then finally I came back to War Dancer just because speed's been so good at Saratoga on the turf course. Now, they did take some rain on Thursday, so that could change it, but it seemed like it was speed favoring all summer last year up there, and it's kind of started out that way again. So I'm going to take War Dancer because of his early speed. Not that he has to be on the lead, but at least he can be close. And he did run decently, actually a little better than decently, in his only try on the turf at Saratoga. So not a strong feeling with War Dancer, but I think there's maybe a little bit of value with him. I'm going to take War Dancer, the 2, use him with Imagining, Innovation Economy, and Morning Calm. And would certainly use all those, maybe 1 or 2 more in horizontal wagers. 10th race is the Jim Dandy, prep for the Travers for 3-year-olds at a 1 1/8. And I took a little bit of a reach here in going with Japan. Bill Mott has been on fire. He trains War Dancer, the horse I liked in the last race, and his horses have been running spectacularly. This horse is a little light on the buyer scale, but I think there's more. He's lightly raced. I think there's more upside there to tap into. The 2 horses, he only beat 2 horses in his last race, but they both came back to win. And I like the fact that he's got some speed in a small field, and you're going to get a rare dose of value. As hot as Mott has been, you're probably going to get a rare dose of value. Here, this horse is 10-1 in the morning line. I don't think you'll get that, but with Frosted, Competitive Edge, Texas Red, those are the 3 I would use with him. I don't think Japan's going to be taking too big of a hit on the tote board, so I'm going to try to upset him with Japan. How about you?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think if you looked at that post-parade in the Easy Goer, he is a huge horse and very impressive. And even though that was only a 3-horse field, he was much, much the best there. And he was much the best in his maiden win on April 30th. So very impressive at Churchill, and just a really nice-looking 3-year-old that's probably late developing and may get close to these horses. So I think you're on the right track there. I would use Frosted with him in the exacta, simply because Frosted is the class of the race coming out of the Belmont Kentucky Derby, the 7-horse from McLaughlin. So I would use Frosted and try and get a little bit of value using Japan underneath and maybe exacta box. Competitive Edge is the one that I'm not sure about. But that day mile at Churchill, he looked very, very impressive. He looked like he was on top of his game, and they had found a niche for him, 7 furlongs to a mile. They stretch him out now to a 1 1/8. I'm not sure that he's going to be that good stretching out, and he didn't run very well in Woody Stevens. So I think Frosted has an edge on him. Texas Red got better in the Dwyer coming off that long layoff, and he's got a shot as well. But I would use Japan and Frosted, the 7, in the exact, and keep them on top in the trifecta.
8th race at Mountaineer is the Grade 2 West Virginia Derby for 3-year-olds. They'll go a 1 1/8 there as well. The tough part on picking here is you've got several of these horses that are entered in other spots, be it the Jim Dandy or the Haskell, and it's tough to know where they're going to go. I ended up taking Iron Fist because Hollendorfer shipping him all the way across the country, and Mike Smith is coming along, and at 10-1, I think there's, even if some horses scratch out of here, there's a little value there with Iron Fist. I didn't have a real strong opinion. I would use him with Bent on Bourbon, who seems to be improving. Tecton, I should say, for Jerkins. Tommy Macho, who transferred to the Pletcher barn, looks like has got a lot of potential. Stanford could use all of those with Iron Fist, but I don't think all of them will end up running there. So hard to handicap this one until you get probably till the day of the race. But I'm going to go 7 Iron Fist. How about you?
Right there with you. We didn't talk about this at all, but I like Iron Fist shipping in from California. Mike Smith comes with him, so can't believe you'll get 10-1 on Mike Smith riding at Mountaineer. But if you get anywhere close to that, it'll be a bargain. Ben on Bourbon would be my second choice for Eddie Kennelly. The Iowa Derby race was very impressive. He won by 3 lengths the first time he stretched out to a mile and 16th, so he goes to a mile and 8 here. If he takes another step forward on the buyer scale, he's right there. And the other horse that I like, Stanford, could be the controlling speed from the rail. If they let him go, he can go a long way. He ran second to Japan in the Easy Goer, and then he came back and won the Long Branch. And if you go back and look at the Louisiana Derby, he very easily could have won that. He got beat by a neck by International Star, who wound up going to the Derby. So Stanford's got a lot of back class, and if they let him go to the lead, Giroux could nurse it a long way. So I would use Iron Fist, but I'd also use Ben on Bourbon and Stanford in the multi-leg wagers.
And finally, the Grade 1 Clement Hirsch at Del Mar for fillies and mares 3 and up at a mile and a 16th. Used to be one of Zenyatta's favorite races. Beholder's the big favorite. Can you beat her?
Yeah, I read the Racing Form that the big question mark is whether she's going to be a bigger favorite than American Pharaoh. And she may very well be, but I can't imagine that she's going to be more better than 1-20, but she's going to be 2-5 here, I think. But she's hard to beat. She never runs a bad race. And Warren's Veneta is the only one that I think could give her a shot. She finished a length and a quarter behind her on June 13th. Other than that, I can't see very much in here that's even the same class as Beholder. Yahilwa ships from Churchill and may get a piece at a price. You might get 15-1 on her, and I think she's got a shot to plunk up and get something second or third. But I would play Beholder, the one on top, with 4 and 7, Warren's Veneta and 7, Yahilwa, with maybe everything else in the trifecta, hopefully get a price.
Yeah, Beholder likes the conditions at Del Mar. Now, that the record at Del Mar is on the synthetic track, but still a different kind of atmosphere down there. She clearly has done well when there. She's 7 of 8 at a mile and 16th, and I just couldn't find any way to pick against her here. So I will if I were betting this race, I would just toss any of the other lower prices and try to find some value in the back half of the exacta. And so I would try the Girl in That Song, the 8, and the 3, My Sweet Addiction, who's a Grade 1 winner and then ran horribly the next time. So she bounces back maybe and runs her best race. She could maybe get the 2 spot. So Beholder for me over the 3 and the 8. Don't forget that simulcasting in the Lexington market is now at the Red Mile, so a lot of big races this weekend, and if you're looking to go out to watch them at a track, then it's at the Red Mile here in Lexington. And, Jim, we're going to do a podcast on Sunday taking a look at the Haskell and the other graded stakes at Monmouth, so it's a big weekend, a lot of great racing.
Yeah, and the Sunday card at Monmouth is always loaded. So even though American Pharaoh is not going to be a great betting race, all the others that day you can make some money in the late pick 4, and with a free square, hopefully with American Pharaoh, we'll all be pulling for him to win the Haskell and go on to whatever he wants to take as a stepping stone to the Breeders' Cup Classic here at Keeneland.
Amen to that. All right, best of luck on your wagers, and we'll be back again for another edition this weekend of the In the Money podcast for Haskell Day. That'll be coming up here at KeenelandSelect.com.